welcome back to another edition of Austin's American Flyer, where today I'm revisiting an old frenemy, pain in my tuchus, but back on the rails once again. If you've been a fan of this channel, or maybe I should put it this way, if you've watched videos from this channel for very long, you may have noticed a reoccurring theme. That is the appearance of an Alco rocket. This guy happens to be the first double-motored engine that I ever bought. I bought the set from a vendor, and so it's been something I was pretty excited to have. It's got pull more tires, it pulls really well, it's in pretty good condition considering the fact that it's from 1954. But that's where things start to get a little rough. Initially, after getting the engine home, it ran, but pretty quickly developed some issues. So it has become a way that I can learn how to repair Alcos, or diesels by American Flyer. When they run well, they run really well. And when they don't run well, they run terrible. They can be the biggest pain in the butt. They can be super frustrating. They can suddenly create issues and have problems that you can't hardly figure out why. So hence the term frenemy. So one of the things that I discovered about this set soon after I bought it was that the motor chassis axles had some pretty decent wear on them. So the holes in the side of the chassis had a lot of play. And what happens when you get some miles on these things is they start to bind. So the axle, there's a gear in the axle, and then there's a worm gear that comes off the armature, and those start to bind with each other, which drives up the amperage and then causes the motors to get pretty hot. And you can fry these motors just from having that binding going on. Now they're powerful, so oftentimes they'll still run, but they'll make a lot of noise doing it, and sometimes they smoke. And American Flyer didn't make diesels that smoke, at least not intentionally. So hence the case with this guy. The last time I operated it, it worked, but it was grinding pretty noisily, and that told me that probably the time was now to do something. Before us is a 400 series Alco diesel by American Flyer. This happens to be the rocket shell that goes with it. And this is the first dual motor with pull more traction tire engines that I ever bought. And it has been a bit of a problem child from the get-go. And the issue stems from one of the problems, or one of the shortfalls with the engineering that Flyer made or built into these engines. On the bottom of the trucks, you will see they have these holes that say to oil. And if a person does do that on a regular, faithful basis, they are putting oil into these little holes at the bottom, and in theory there are little oil wicks. Now these oil wicks go up to bushings that happen to be on the end of the armature. You can see one here in this plastic bag. Now what the problem is these are a solid bushing. There's no hole, there's no opening for the oil to go into. So if somehow oil does make it up into that, it's lubricating the outside of the bushing, not the inside of the bushing. So that's one issue. Another issue is these frames, at least after the initial first year or so of manufacturing, were made with this very soft cast metal. And what happens is, because most people don't lubricate them, they start to get this kind of a play in them. What I've been doing is starting a process to rebuild this engine. And I was inspired to do this by another Alco that I purchased, that a gentleman had done all this, and the engine runs flawlessly. It is just smooth, it runs cool, it's quiet, it takes very low amperage to operate. It's beautiful. So that's what I'm doing with this. Now, the challenges have been the bushings that you can buy for these trucks are really big. In fact, let's see if I can find the ones that I bought. Probably not easily accessible here. Of course not. Where are they? There they are. So these are the size of bushings that you can buy ready-made. And I wanted to try to find some that were made with a material called oilite, which is a sintered brass that has heavyweight oil impregnated into the material. And so I finally found some of that. I couldn't actually find it turned, so I have access to a metal lathe, and I started to turn some of this material and found that because it's very soft in the world of metals, it just kept snapping. So I went to regular brass. And so here you can see the bushings that I have turned and made. And one of the challenges with these Alcos is Flyer, for reasons I don't fully understand, has an axle that is different sizes on depending on which side you are on. So you have to try to keep all that straight, because if you don't, you're going to end up with destroying your chassis. And this is the first one I've done. As you can see, I've drilled out the original holes, which were oblong, and these wheels here. It's a little hard to tell in this camera shot, but I'm able to move them, but only slightly, and that's opposed to these here, which you can move quite a bit. So that's what I'm repairing. So the next step will be reassembling. I'm going to go ahead and reassemble this one motor, and we're just going to run it and see if it's any improvement. So I gotta confess, this is probably one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done with American Flyer. The main reason being, if I drilled my holes wrong, I would be causing permanent damage that probably I wouldn't be able to restore. And so I did a lot of checking, measuring, and then drilling. I'm breathing a bit of a sigh of relief, because here we go. Now this is with the throttle just cracked. So with these motors, if they run slowly and smoothly, that's a sign that they are dialed in, and that's a good thing. So the other thing then is, how do they run on the high end? It's pretty good. Now the thing I've been noticing, I've run this a little bit now, and it's been kind of cleaning off the commutator a little bit. There must have been some oil or something, because it did a little bit of smoking, but after that it just kind of ran faster and faster and faster. So let's go ahead and switch directions here. You can see it definitely runs faster this direction. That is, in terms of Spaceballs, ludicrous speed right there. So that's really good, and that's insane. Now, one of the things that's kind of important to consider when you've got these dual motored Alcos is the motors actually are facing each other. So we can say, let's just say that this is facing backwards, because this is the side where the brushes are. The motor that goes back here will be flipped 180 degrees. So it's not uncommon for these motors to have one direction they go faster in than another. So, but one of the things that you can do is they have these adjustment screws on the sides of the field. And what this does is it will slightly adjust the field and adjust the magnetic field as well. And so what I will do, now that I know this engine is running and running very well, thank you, Lord, I'll go ahead and make some small adjustments up here and see if I can't get this speed dialed in so that it's equal both directions. I've had some pretty good luck doing that. Phew, boy, I can't tell you how relieved I am that I didn't screw up the drilling and hear the gears grind, not mesh correctly and eat each other up and ruin the whole thing. So, whew. All right, so I think I'll go ahead and get this dialed in, and we'll call this a wrap, and a good wrap for now. Found this video interesting, inspiring, and motivating to keep your flyer fleet in good service. Until next time, take care, God bless, enjoy those American Flyer trains, and we'll see you. Bye-bye.